Let us start. Sorry, we're a little late today. Om. 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 Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshal, Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha. Om Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanam Manikya Spurat Dharanayaka Shekaram Smidhamukhi Mabhinava Shoruham Panibhyam Malipurna Ratna Chashakam Rattotpalam Vipratim Saumyam Ratnagastarakta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambikam ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्तां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायदाक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसन् हेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुदां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्ददिदेक्षणां ससरजापवाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीं मरुणमाल्यभूषोज्ज्वलां जपाकुसुमवासुरां जपविदौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिविरावृतां मयूकैः अहमित्येव विभावये महेशीम् ओम पराशक्ति नमः ओम पराशक्ति नमः ओम पराशक्ति नमः So today we're going to cover from 746 till 760. ओम भाग्याब्धिचंद्रिकायै नमः ओम भक्तचित्तकेकि घनाघनायै नमः ओम रोगपर्वतदम्बोळये नमः ओम मृत्युदारुकुटारिकायै नमः ओम महेश्वर्यै नमः ओम महाकाल्यै नमः ओम महाग्रासायै नमः ओम महाशनायै नमः ओम अपर्णायै नमः ओम चण्डिकायै नमः ओम चण्डमुण्डासुरनिषूदिन्यै नमः ओम क्षराक्षरात्मिकायै नमः ओम सर्वलोकेश्यै नमः ओम विश्वधारिण्यै नमः ओम त्रिवर्गदात्रे नमः. So the first name is Om Bhagyabdi Chandrikayai Namaha. Bhagya. Bhagya refers to good fortune. Bhagya refers to good fortune. Abdi. Abdi, the word Abdi refers to the ocean or to the sea. Bhagya Abdi Chandrika. Chandrika is the full moon. So, what happens during the full moon to the oceans? When the full moon is there, when during the full moon, the oceans go through this high tide and low tide, and all these tides are affected by the presence of the full moon. So, what this name means is that she is Bhagyabdi Chandrika. She is the full moon to the ocean of good fortune and causes the ocean to swell. So she is the full moon, and she is the full moon for what? She is the full moon for the ocean of good fortune and causes the ocean to swell. So this is the literal meaning of this name, Bhagyadi Chandrika. Bhagyadi Chandrikaye Namaha. So the ocean, when the ocean is there during the full moon condition, what happens is that the ocean will rise. Generally high tide happens. So Devi's blessings bring waves of good fortune. Due to Devi's blessings, there will be waves of good fortunes, prosperity, and most importantly spiritual bliss. Most importantly spiritual bliss, that will also happen during this full moon time. Now generally they say that if you have had a bad evening or a bad night, the good thing to look forward to is that the next day you are going to sleep and the next day is going to be a good day. So that should be the positive perspective on life. So whenever this bad fortune happens, the bad fortunes are normal in life. It is just that when the bad fortunes happen, we have to withstand this waves of misfortune. We have to learn to withstand these waves of misfortune. And once you become a devotee to Devi, what will happen is that even if there is bad luck or ill luck, even that will turn into waves of good fortune. So the important thing is complete Sampurna Sharanagati at the lotus feet of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi. And once you surrender completely at the lotus feet of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi, you will find that even though you are going through a bad time or a bad phase, it will be Devi who will hold your hand and take you across the oceans of misery. So Devi will hold your hand. You don't need to hold Devi's hand. The prayer that we should have is, oh Devi, please hold my hand. Not that I will hold your hand. Hold my hand so that you can take me through this oceans of misery. So her grace has the power to challenge even fate. Even fate can be rewritten if we have the divine support from the divine force, which is Devi. 747. Bhakta chitta kegi ghana gana. Bhakta chitta kegi ghana gana. So this is keki refers to peacocks. Keki or keka, if you remember keka vahana. So keki refers to peacocks. Ghana ghana. Bhakta chitta kegi ghana ganaye namaha. Ghana ghana. Ghana ghana is referring to the thick, water-laden, dark rain clouds. Thick, water-laden, dark rain clouds. So, chitta refers to the heart. So, Bhakta chitta kegi ghana ghana. So, she is the cloud that gladdens the peacocks who are the hearts of her devotees. So, the peacock is likened to the hearts of the devotees. So, what happens is that when there are these dark clouds, just like at that point in time, you can see all the peacocks coming out and dancing in extreme joy. That extreme joy is seen in those peacocks. So the clouds bring such a surge of joy to the hearts of peacocks that they start dancing. Similarly, when the hearts of the devotees, when they think of Devi, think of Mother, they also start to sing and dance. There is complete joy, extreme bliss, which we can experience in the presence of the Divine Mother. So the minds of the devotees dance with joy like peacocks dance at the sights of clouds. So that is what this refers to. This is what the reference to peacocks in the presence of dark clouds. So singing the praise to Devi is like thunder for them. What a beautiful way analogy is being brought about. Singing the praise of Devi is like thunder for them, and the flashes of ecstasy that the devotee experiences is the lightning that happens when there is extreme thunder, extreme pregnant clouds that are there. And what happens when it rains? When it rains, those rains are like joyful tears of devotion that are a cool downpour. So just like we have all this, everything, every aspect of the rain is likened to the heart of the devotee. First is the peacock, which is the mind of the devotee dancing in joy, and the sound of thunder is the sound related to all the singing and dancing that's happening, and the ecstasy that is experienced by the devotee is the lightning, and the tears of joy are likened to the rain. What a beautiful way in which one can experience devotion. Now there is another colloquial perspective in this Sanskrit. The colloquial perspective in Sanskrit is ghana ghana. Ghana ghana, where ghana, the first ghana is referring to the cloud, and aghana means continuous. It is not a proper interpretation, but it's a colloquial interpretation of Sanskrit. So this aghana means a continuous grace, which basically means that Devi continuously keeps giving grace. It is not that the grace comes and then it stops after some time. No, that grace starts. There is a pregnant cloud, and all these clouds are there. And once the grace starts flowing, it is an incessant grace that flows from Devi towards the devotee. So the closing argument is, what sweeter emotion is there other than devotion? What is a sweeter emotion other than devotion? This is the most beautiful aspect when you just close your eyes, picturize yourself sitting there thinking of Devi, and that emotion of extreme devotion and complete surrender at the feet of Devi will take you to a completely different level altogether. So that is the most beautiful emotion that one can experience while going through prayer, an extreme prayer for Devi, Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi. 748. Om Roga Parvada Dambolaye Namaha. Om Roga Parvada Dambolaye Namaha. The name is Roga Parvada Damboli. Roga Parvada Damboli. So Roga is referring to diseases. Parvada refers to the mountains. Damboli here is referring to the Vajra or the Vajrayuda, which was the weapon which was used by Indra. So this is the weapon which is called as the Vajrayuda or the thunderbolt. So she is the thunderbolt that shatters the mountain of disease. She is the thunderbolt that shatters the mountain of disease. So if in this particular case, the Vajra amongst weapons, Lord Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita that I am the Vajra amongst weapons. The Damboli is Indra's thunderbolt. So what this is referring to is that you might be suffering even from a mountain of diseases. Even if you're suffering from a mountain of diseases, she is the thunderbolt that can destroy that mountain of diseases. Now, there are two perspectives of this. One is the physical disease, and the other is the philosophical perspective, which refers to pride, anger, greed, and ego. So, how many of us do not have this? That is the question you have to ask yourselves. How many of us do not have pride, do not have anger, do not have greed, do not have ego? Very difficult. So we are having all of these, and what is the size of that? All these rogas which are there inside us, it is like a mountain. It is like a mountain. So when you pray to Devi, what Devi does is Devi strikes with a thunderbolt and removes this mountain of rogas which are there inside us. Now there is another story which says that in the ancient past, mountains could fly. Mountains could fly. So when Indra was there, it is saying that the mountains could fly, but the mountains would come crashing down. So there was no landing mechanism like we have for the planes these days. There is no landing mechanism, no landing wheels, nothing. The mountains are flying and they will come and crash. So they'll probably come and crash in maybe in Vishakhapatnam, and Vishakhapatnam town will be completely flattened. The town will not remain there because that's a mountain that is coming. It's mountain, it's a huge mountain. It's coming and landing, crash landing. Mountains could fly. So what happened was Indra used the Vajrayudha and destroyed the wings of these mountains. And because he destroyed the wings of these mountains, the mountains could not move. So this is the history behind the mountains. However, only one mountain actually escaped this capability of being able to fly. One mountain flew and flew and landed in the middle of the ocean. Which was that mountain? That was a mount called Mainaga. There is a mount called Mainaga, and that mountain, if you remember, go to Ramayana, you will find that that mountain is there because that is the mountain where Hanuman rested while flying to Lanka. So that is the mountain, Mount Mainaga. How did that mountain arrive there? That mountain arrived there because mountains had wings in the past. And this mountain escaped Indra's wrath and ended up in the middle of the ocean. So this is the story of mountains that could fly in the past. Now they say that a glance from Devi is enough. Glance from Devi is enough for Lord Shiva itself. So a glance from Devi, it is nothing for all those rogas. It is nothing for all those rogas. Rogas will disappear. Just a glance from Devi is enough. You can just imagine for a minute going through those aspects of your life, having difficulty in life, and a glance from Devi. But to get that glance from Devi, you have to work hard. You have to work really hard. You have to completely surrender yourself to Devi. And only when you surrender yourself to Devi will Devi give you that grace. And with that divine grace, you will be able to overcome all aspects related to your yoga. 749. Mrityu-daru kutarikaye namaha. Mrityu means death. Daru refers to wood. Daru refers to wood. Kutarika is an axe which is used to chop wood. So she is the axe that can cut down the tree of death. Mrityu Daru Kutarika. So what she does is, she is the axe that cuts down the tree that represents death. Now, this death is not just the physical death which is being referred to. The physical death perspective which is being referred to here is called Akala Mrityu. Akala Mrityu, which is untimely death. For untimely death, if you pray to Devi for yourself and for the rest of your family, Devi will protect you and ensure that this Akala Mrityu does not happen. So this is Devi's, it is again complete Sampurna Sharanagati at Devi's feet, and you say, you take care of my family. You take care of my family. It is then the responsibility of Devi to ensure that she protects all within your family and prevents chances of Akala Mrityu. So that is the physical perspective. But what is referred to here is not just the physical perspective. Devi cuts the cycle of samsara, blessing devotees with moksha. So the cycle of samsara, because each time you are born again, it is death again. Because each birth is followed by death. So therefore, each cycle of birth, when you're born again, immediately death is a guarantee. So therefore, what happens is that if Devi cuts out, using the axe, cuts out that cycle of samsara, blessing devotees with moksha, then you can be sure that you are getting completely released from that particular aspect. Now, this chanting this particular mantra, which is Mrityudaru Kutarika, is useful for preventing or ensuring that the devotees do not suffer from Akala Mrityu. Also, this cuts the fear of death, because this is something Death is something, it is a natural, it is a given, it has to happen. Now when that is going to happen, there is obviously a potential fear of that death happening. So what Devi does is prevents the fear of that death, or ensures that people get over that fear of death. And they also say, in connection to this, is that Guru's grace, prayer to Guru's grace has the power to postpone even a death that comes in old age. Even death associated with old age, several examples are there. But the important thing to remember is that complete Sharanagati, to even if it's a realized soul, if you can completely surrender yourself to that realized soul, you will see that several things will happen. In fact, when we are born, one thing that is sure is that the return date of our visit visa is already stamped. The return date of the visit visa, the day the visit visa is going to end, is already stamped there in our passports. We are having a temporary existence on this planet. That temporary existence lasts as long as is written down. And we are all thinking that we are great people doing so many things, enacting so many things. Actually, we are only enacting. We are only acting. We are thinking that we are so great. We did this, we did that. What did we do? We did nothing. Everything is part of the divine Leela of the Lord, part of the divine Leela, and we are just enacting and playing out that role. At one point in time in the future, you will have to go. Now, that point in time, that is determined by what is already there, but it is up to Devi to determine whether that visit visa deserves an extension or not. Deserves an extension or not. So the time on this planet, whether you need to be here for a little longer, is not in our hands. So if we need it, and if that is what is divine destiny, so be it. But let us all be prepared for the fact that inevitably one day we will have to leave this planet. 750. Om Maheshwaryai Namaha. Maheshwaryai Namaha. So she is Maheshwari, supreme ruler. She is the power of Maheshwara. She is the Shakti behind Maheshwara. Maheshwara is Lord Shiva. So she is the power of Maheshwara. And this is one of the Ashtamatragas. There are the 8 Matragas. She is one of the Ashtamatragas. So this is what this name Maheshwari means. 751. Mahakaliyai Namaha. Om Mahakalyai Namaha. Again, this is going back to, it is not Mahakalyai. Kali, it is with the La, big La. So Mahakalyai Namaha. So who is Kali? Kali is one who has transcended time. Kala. One who has gone past time, or one who controls time. So Devi is Mahakali. Kali of great prowess. She who destroys time and lifts us to the knowledge of the self, which is beyond past, present and future. She is Kalatita, she is beyond time. So that is why she is called as timeless. So Mahakala is Shiva, and his wife is Mahakali. So they say that Kali was born from Shiva's third eye. She is the great destroyer, force of ultimate dissolution, who draws all unto herself at the end of the cosmic cycle. So she is the person who takes everything back into herself. Now, Kali is one who is black in color. Anything that is referred to Kali, Kali is never shown as a white god, or a god with a little color out there. Kali is shown as being dark. Now, what does that signify? Black is the absence of color, which is the unconditioned state of consciousness before creation. But that is why Kali is considered to be black in color. Now, there is another perspective. Kali is the destroyer of ego, which is a dark illusion of ego. And therefore, she is not just destroying ego, she destroys ego and sins of Kali Yuga, helping devotees achieve spiritual liberation. So that is what Kali actually does. Now, we remember Kali Ghat, which which is in Calcutta, which is a deity where Kali Swarupa is there. You can go there and visit. I have had the fortune of visiting that temple there. The deity in Ujjain is Mahakal. Mahakal. So the consort of Mahakal is Mahakali. So that is the other perspective of Mahakali. 752 Mahagrasa. Om Mahagrasa Ye Namaha. Now grasa basically means mouthful, morsel, act of swallowing. She is actually swallowing. So what does she swallow? She devours cosmic universe and devours ego. She devours ego. So this is ego blasting of the highest order, ego blasting at each and every step, completely breaking down the ego of all of her devotees. That is what Devi does at each and every step. She devours everything great, or she who is the great devourer. That is what this refers to. She is the person who eats or completely consumes everything. So this is, they say that even Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, at the end of the cosmic cycle of creation, preservation and dissolution, even at the end of that, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, they were also devoured by Devi. So this is what Devi is referred to as Mahagrasa. She is the person who devours everything out there. 753 Mahashanaye Namaha. Om Mahashanaye Namaha. She who eats everything that is great. Yeah, so consumes the entire universe and takes it back into her womb. Why? To prepare for the next cycle of creation. She takes everything back into her womb. She devours dissolution. She devours ego. She devours ignorance. She devours sins. Everything that we all suffer from, but we are all not ready to accept it. We think that we are perfect. We think that we don't have ego. If you ask somebody about it, they say, no ego, I'm perfectly fine. Do you commit sins? No, I'm perfect. Do you have any ignorance? No, I'm perfectly knowledgeable. I know everything on this planet. So that is every person's ignorance which is being shown in that particular statement itself. So everything in the universe finally merges into Devi, and she is the great eater. She's Mahashana. She's the person who completely eats everything, dissolves into herself this world and the next world as well. So there is further we are going to talk about. In fact, in a further name, she is portrayed as the person who completely devours Chanda and Munda, the Asuras. Chanda Munda, and she eats the entire Asura army in its entirety, along with the elephants, chariots and horses. Just imagine. So that is what Devi opens her mouth, and the whole thing goes into Devi's mouth. So that's what she is. Mahashanaye Namaha. 754 Aparnaye Namaha. Om Aparnaye Namaha. So Irna, the word Irna refers to death. So apa means removed or away. So what this means is that she who has no debt. What a beautiful situation out here. She who has there is no credit card. She doesn't have a credit card. So she does not owe any money to anybody. Yeah. And today all our credit cards are full. Yeah. As far as Devi is concerned, she's got a cosmic credit card which is completely free. It's completely free. There is not a single debt owed to a single person. Now, what this particular name means is that Devi is indebted only to her devotees. Why is she indebted only to her devotees? She's indebted only to her devotees because of the devotion that devotees have for Devi. When she sees that devotion, she knows that she's got to do something in return. That is the only debt that Devi has. That is the only debt that Devi has. So now, just as the lotus leaf does not become wet even when immersed in water, Devi does not have any attachment to anyone. But at the same time, she is the force responsible for all aspects of life on this planet. She fills the universe, yet the universe does not touch her. The universe does not touch her. She has no attachment, owes nothing, and it is implied that she fulfills the desires immediately and carries no debt. She doesn't carry it forward and say, okay, I'll do it for you tomorrow. No, instant gratification. Instant gratification. The minute somebody prays to Devi with complete bhakti, when there is complete bhakti, be sure that that bhakti will be repaid immediately. Immediately, Devi will take every step to ensure that that is repaid. Now, there is another meaning of aparna. Aparna basically means a plus parna. Parna refers to leaf. Refers to leaves. So they say that Devi took the birth as the daughter of Himavat. Took the birth as the daughter of Himavat, and she did a lot of penance to win over Lord Shiva. So the first few years she did penance, she had only uncooked food. And after some time, she stopped uncooked food and started living on leaves. And then she started living on fallen leaves. And then she started doing her penance without leaves. So this was the way Devi did penance. She did the tapas, and this is mentioned in Kumara Sambhava also, saying eating only the leaves falling from trees is the most severe form of penance, and she gave up even eating those leaves. So therefore they say that those who know this ancient stories call her Aparna. Call her Aparna, because a person who lived without leaves. Then there is Kalika Purana, which also says the same thing, that she renounced even leaves as food. The daughter of Himavat is therefore called Aparna by the Devas. Then Parna also means to fall. Bhaskaracharya says that Aparna is one who has no fall, somebody who cannot fall. So that is also another interpretation of the word Aparna, of the name Aparna. 755. Om Chandikayai Namaha. Om Chandikayai Namaha. So she who is angry, that is what this Chandika means, she who is angry. So what does Chandi? Chandi basically means anger. What does this anger mean? Or where does she direct this anger? She directs this anger towards evil forces. Towards evil forces. So she who is supremely angry, she is a fierce form, and this fierceness or the anger is targeted at cosmic ego, at unrighteousness and demonic forces. So where are these demonic forces? They are not just around, they are within us as well. The demons are within us. So Devi directs her anger at these demonic forces inside us. So she is the destroyer of ignorance. Now, the slayer of Chanda and Munda, slayer of Chanda and Munda, which is the next name as well, but it is also spoken about in this name, which is Chandika, the slayer of Chanda and Munda. Because she slayed Chanda and Munda, she is called as Chamundi. She is called as Chamundi. And there is also the ultimate power of Brahman, the ultimate power of Brahman. That person who is the ultimate power of Brahman is called as Chandi. That is also another aspect as far as this particular name is concerned. So the question that comes up is, can Devi actually, who is showing that anger, she is called as Chandika because she is a person who shows that anger. Can Devi actually be angry? Can she actually demonstrate that anger towards, especially towards her devotees? It is extremely impossible. If you think of the love that devotees have towards Devi, it is next to impossible. It is impossible for Devi to show anger towards her devotees. Now, Devi can never be under the sway of emotions, but there are times, and depending on the situation, when a show of anger is needed. A show of anger is needed, and that is when she becomes Chandika. That is when Devi becomes Chandika. The best example of this show of anger on my on the basis of my having been visiting and regarding Mata Amritandamai as my spiritual guru for the past 30 odd years is she is the person who demonstrates this anger. She demonstrates this anger. So I have seen there, we have gone there, sat there. I've had this fortune of sitting next to her for on the 13th of April 2023. 13th of April 2023, when we did the Arati for Amma. At that time, sat next to her for 2 hours or so, and the range of emotions that she displayed, starting from anger to compassion to love to laughter, everything. Anger when it is needed. It is not that she's actually angry, but she's showing that anger. That is also a classic example of this particular name, Chandika, where a demonstration of anger when it is needed. This is a classic example. A girl of 7 is also known as Chandika as part of the Kumari Puja. 756, Chandamunda Sura Nishudini. Now, Chandamunda Asura Nishudini. Chanda Munda Asura Nishudini. Nishudini is the person who actually kills. Yeah. Who are these Asuras? Chanda and Munda. And what do Chanda and Munda stand for? Chanda stands for blind anger, rage, and obstinacy. Now, if you write it down and think about ourselves. Chanda, blind anger, represents blind anger, rage, and obstinacy. We say that no, what we say is only right. What everybody else is saying is wrong. Obstinate. The second one, Munda. Who is Munda? Lowliness, very low thinking, stupidity, and heavy ignorance. So this is the features of the attributes of Munda. So Chanda on one side shows blind anger, rage, and obstinacy, and Munda on the other side shows lowliness, stupidity, and heavy ignorance. So you look at everybody, we can look at ourselves and say, okay, where can we find the Chanda? Where can we find the Munda? We can find Chanda and Munda within ourselves. Extreme rage, extreme anger, extreme, obstinacy. You have especially this obstinacy comes to the fore within the family. And that is when it becomes even more dangerous. Obstinacy between the mother and the child, between the father and the child. That is where your Chanda is actually coming out. And sometimes extreme stupidity as well within the family. We are here for such a short period of time. In that time, what is the meaning in having ego or running on an ego trip within the family? What is the meaning of having an ego trip within the family? It just doesn't make sense. Reflect on this. That will help us get over the Chanda Mundas within ourselves. So she is the person who killed Chanda, Munda, and the other Asuras. So Devi, because you captured Chanda and Munda, you will be known as Chamunda. Or Chamundi. The Varaha Purana says that Devi killed the demon Ruru, and because she separated the body skin is called as the Charman. The body skin is the Charman, and the head, which is the Munda. With her trident, she is called as Chamunda. That is also another perspective of the word Chamunda, where the skin was taken out, the head was also taken out, and therefore she was called as Chamunda. 757. Charatmikaye Namaha. So Chara refers to the changeable, and Charatmika. The second thing is the changeless. So she is the form of both the perishable and the imperishable, or you can say the changeable and the changeless. So these are the two forms of reality, and she is in the form of Both of these things. Now, the perishable, which is the Chara, is the samsara bound body. The body is perishable. And what happens is that the body thinks that the body is the self. Body thinks that the body is the self. But the imperishable, which is the Akshara, is the eternal self. In fact, this morning, what is that? We were talking about the fourth of the niyamas. The fourth of the niyamas. The fourth of the niyamas is swadhyaya. Swadhyaya, which is referring to self-study. Self-study. Several perspectives of self-study. Self-study can mean that you take a book, yeah, and you decide that you are going to study the book on your own. That is self-study. So you've taken up, say, one of the spiritual texts, and you think that you'll be able to read it on your own. So you start reading it. That is called as self-study. There is another perspective of self-study, which is S in capital. Self-study. You look inwards, study yourself. So that is another perspective of self-study, where you look inwards and start studying yourself, and that study, the second self-study, will give you more benefit than the first one. First one, you will be from an external perspective. This is an internal perspective, turning inwards, looking inwards, closing your external eyes, looking inwards, and that is when you will be able to become a better person. A better person will emerge out of that self-study. So the imperishable and beginness has several ways, in several aspects. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has talked about the importance of the Atman. Lord Krishna has also talked about the fact that there is an aspect of the Atman which is right at the center, which is the imperishable perspective. Now, there is a further explanation of this, which is that Chara refers to words or sounds. Aksharas are the letters or symbols, which are the seeds of creation. So she is not just the words or sounds, but she is not just the letters or syllables, but she is the aksharas, or the words or sounds as well. She is the creator of the single syllables, and the Devi makes that diversity by bringing all the syllables and consonants coming together to form the different words. That's why she's called as Charatmikaye Namaha. Then there is a final perspective, which is Chara being Sat, or being, and Akshara being Asat, or non-being. Devi is there for both animate as well as inanimate objects. She, just as gold manifests as pure gold or in various ornaments, at the end of the day, the substratum of all this is gold. She is right at the center of all this. This is also explained in Gita chapter 15 verse 16, that the perishable includes all creatures. The supreme is imperishable. The verse is Dvavimau purushau loke charakchara evacha chara sarvani bhutani kudastokshara uchyate. So what this means is that there are two kinds of beings in creation: the Chara, which is perishable, and the Akshara, which is imperishable. The perishable are all beings in the material realm. The imperishables are the liberated beings. So that is what this refers to. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. I have just read it out. I don't know the Bhagavad Gita. I'm just reading out what I have actually got from the texts as well. 758. Sarvalokeshyai Namaha. So she who is the ruler of the worlds. Sarvalokeshyai Namaha. She is the ruler of all the worlds. 759. Vishwadharini or Vishwadharinyai Namaha. So she is the person who supports the universe. If you remember, there was a reference to Devi being the substratum. All aspects above Devi will appear and disappear, but she is the substratum on which all forms of creation or living or non-living are present on Devi. So she is the universe, and that is the universe that exists within Devi. She is the cosmic anchor and holds the entire cosmos in perfect balance. In perfect balance, and she is the loving mother who maintains, cares, and nourishes her creation with motherly love. Again, the concept of mother comes in, and that is where we should always remember that mother and child relation is the most pure relationship out there. There is nothing out there which is of any form of ill will, and the mother never holds ill will towards her children. So that is something that mothers should remember, and children should also remember that if not for the mother, the child is non-existent. So always remember that your mother is your first God. Mother is your first God. In this particular case, Devi is your God out here. She acts as the mother. 760. Trivargadatre Namaha. She who bestows the three goals of life. Now there are Purusharthas, which are the Purusharthas. These Purusharthas are Dharma, Artha and Kama. Yeah, Moksha is also there. But once Dharma, Artha and Kama are in the right proportion, Moksha comes at the end of it. So what she does is she bestows these three goals of life to all creations of hers. See, in fact, this goes back to the triumvirate or the triad. Always there is this question of what are the three perspectives. So you have three aspects, which is the three gunas, the trigunas are referred to, or you have the three powers, the three shaktis, which is Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. That is also referred to. So what Devi does is she bestows all these aspects on her devotees, and it is from her that all devotees obtain material riches and a firmly grounded abidance in righteousness. So this is the aspect that we are all looking forward to, so that we can go forward in the right path which leads us towards supreme consciousness. I offer these words at the lotus feet of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Karacharana Kritam va Kayajam Karmajam va Shravananayanajam va Manasam va Paradam Vidam Avidam va Sarvamedakshamasva. Jaya Jaya Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Om